Welcome to the Versatile Experience. I'm your host, Carlos Parks. We will be joined shortly by my guest, Miss LaPorscha Peoples, and we will be discussing with her at length um, something that I feel like a lot of individuals will be interested in knowing, especially young ladies who have a loved one incarcerated. Mrs. Peoples, and I will let you tell. I will tell you more about her once we add her to the stage. But she's been a prison relationship, right? She's been involved in a relationship with an individual who has been incarcerated for quite some time. For over a decade, he's been incarcerated for going on 16 years, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know how long she's been riding with him during this journey, but she doesn't plan on going anywhere for the foreseeable future. And she will be there as an advocate for change, right, and justice for Rivera Peoples. And I will let her tell you more about that as soon as we bring her on. She's having some technical difficulties getting on, but she will be on in a second. In the meantime, if anybody's interested in joining our show, being a guest on the show, please contact me. I think I have the email and the phone number going along the bottom. My name is Carlos Parks, and my podcast is meant to be different. We don't want to talk about all of the negative things that are taking place, and you know, this is not that type of a podcast. It's more about telling our stories, the stories of people from the Black diaspora, right? That wouldn't get out on larger networks, and I won't say any of those larger networks, but they just won't tell our stories, or they don't find our stories interesting, told by us. They like to change the narrative. Um, yeah, so now we have a network, Fifth Sun TV, where you can tell your stories. Where we would talk about, we would show the documentaries of individuals who have been wronged by our criminal justice system, or in some other way. This is what we focus. That's what we look to achieve on Fifth Sun TV. And I still have not had our guests come in. I don't have anything showing that she's having. Let me give me 1 second, and I will work to bring her on. We are live. I really need her to check in. I asked her to come on 10 minutes early so that we wouldn't have this problem. Could you please expedite her coming on? She's my only guest. She needs to come on ASAP. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so we're working to get her on now. I'm married. I don't know how many other people are married on here, but my wife is never on time. So I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I kind of expect it with the young ladies. They want to get their face done up right and everything. Right, hair has to be right. I don't know about clothes, because this is a virtual meeting. Like, you don't know if I have anything on under this shirt, but she will be on shortly. I sent her the link, and in the meantime, let's talk about, I guess, current affairs. No, we're gonna talk about the criminal justice system and what just took place in Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, Tennessee is a breeding ground for injustice, right? And you see these ladies I have behind me. These are some of the female members of the Black Panther Party in the '60s and '70s, right? And they were the backbone of the struggle. They were the backbone of the fight, right? Because they a lot of times the men were incarcerated. They locked up the men. Um, and there are men right now from the Black Panther Party who are still incarcerated today, right? Despite us knowing that at that time there was a hugely compromised criminal justice system. They were super racist, right? So how can we expect a racist judge to play fair with someone of color? It didn't happen, right? It didn't happen. Like they would trump up charges all the time on our people, and throw away the key. And that's something that we went through today. I mean, we went through in the 60s and 70s, and we're going through today. They'll just trump charges up, especially in places like Tennessee. They basically they have the authority, right? And our guest is on now, so I will add our guest to the stage. Miss LaPorscha Peoples.
How you doing? Can you
Your sound. It's the same issue. It's your sound is distant.
Okay, let me.
So she has a issue with her earpiece or something. I don't know what it is, but
It's
it's
my.
that same issue you had last week. So
Okay,
if you
let me fix it.
all right, so she's going to fix it. Yadia. I've never seen that name before. I'm guessing that's the middle name. Yadia. Okay. I heard something. I think the sound is back. I hear her hitting keys, but all right. So like I was saying, man, they're not gonna play fair with us. We understand that. But in places like Mississippi, Louisiana, Tennessee, Deep South, it's even worse. It's even worse than it is for us in the North. Maybe Cleveland, which is not the South, it's horrible there. The criminal justice system I'm speaking of, you have so many wrongful convictions in Cuyahoga County. And I speak on Dwayne Brooks, how he was released after 30 something years for a crime he didn't commit. Let me hear your sound now.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but it's still far away. Like it sounds like you're in a
Yes.
bathroom. Like
What
you
about
can't hear.
now?
It's like your volume is low.
Let me see. What about now?
Yeah, can you turn your volume up though? Like it's still low. Like I don't, it's
Hold on.
yeah. But Dwayne Brooks, he was released about 2 years ago from Cuyahoga County after 30 plus years of incarceration.
How
Didn't
about
commit.
now?
It's about the same, of course, but we're gonna work with that. We're gonna work with that.
Okay.
We're gonna work with that. You just have to you know uh, project a little more when you speak. But so I'll
Okay.
start with the introduction so these people know who this young lady is that came on late today. All right, so we are again. We are. I don't know if you tuned in last week, you would have seen LaPorscha Hagen's LaPorscha Hagen's Peoples on our show. I give you her bio. Introducing myself, I'm LaPorscha Hagen's Peoples, the wife of Rivera Peoples. I am a dedicated advocate for criminal justice reform, committed to restorative justice practices. I hold 4 degrees from Arkansas State University. I'm a licensed esthetician and the proud owner of New Skin with a K in EW, New Skin Aesthetics LLC. In addition to my advocacy work, I also provide freelance web design services to those negatively impacted by the justice system. Falling in love with my husband and best friend Rivera has ignited a mission within me to advocate for the voiceless. The persistent issues of wrongful convictions, which I was just speaking on, and harsh sentences in our community drive my passion to use my energy, strength, and prayers to stand up for those affected by the justice system. Born in a federal prison, and this is the part that I really want to, add emphasis to. You were born in a federal prison. All right. I
Yes.
have dedicated my life to shattering the cycles of injustice that have long plagued our society. My journey has been marked by resilience and determination, fueled by a passion for creating a world where freedom is not only possible but inevitable. I have worked tirelessly to empower marginalized communities and amplify the voices of those silenced by the criminal justice system. My activism has taken me to the forefront of some of the most critical battles for justice, including marching on Washington, D.C. I'll add this one, marching on Memphis, Tennessee 2025, participating in the Heal People, empathy on the Heal which week of it. I am honored to be part of the 2024 Dream.org cohort, a testament to my unwavering commitment to justice and equality. Having recently completed the Dream.org Justice Cohort Program, I can utilize my skills in advocacy, relationship building, and organization. I have a profound understanding of advocating for justice reform across local, state, and federal levels. My skills in coalition building, policy impact analysis, legislative storytelling, and conflict management equips me to drive meaningful change. I am confident in my ability to thrive in this role and support its mission while building meaningful personal and professional relationships. My story is one of hope and redemption, a reminder that even in the darkest corners of our justice system, there's always the potential for transformation and growth. Through my work, I aim to humanize the justice impacted experience, to bridge the gaps between communities, and to forge a new path forward. One that is rooted in empathy, compassion, and a relentless pursuit of justice for all. Embracing righteousness, pursuing justice, and uplifting the oppressed. Thank you, Ms. LaPorscha Peoples, for joining us today.
Thank you, Carlos.
All right. So for the next 50, little less than 50 minutes, we're going to talk about something that has been on your heart for a minute now, right? And you've expressed to me that you want to just dead it, right?
Yes.
Let's just cut to the chase. I want to just say this one last time for everybody to hear it. So this is what we're here today. We're here to talk about um your relationship, you're loving a lifer, right? And a lifer is someone we refer to who has been sentenced with a life sentence, and
Mhm.
how you fell in love with and married an individual who has a life sentence, the type of struggles or obstacles you faced past tense, and you face right now, right? We're going to discuss
Mhm.
all of that in the next hour. So, LaPortia, I'll let you, I'm going to hit you with the big question first, right?
Okay.
How in the world did you find yourself in love with a man with a life sentence?
When you listen to the context of Rivera's case, it kind of opens up your heart. Honestly, it makes you want to fight for him because you never really realize how much injustice there is in the United States alone, until you hear a personal story from the person that has experienced injustice. And then you see the context of their case, and it just makes you open up even more with that person. Um, and the fact that he was fighting not only for himself, he was fighting to end the mass incarceration and the wrongful conviction for everybody. He felt as if no one should experience that. So that
Okay.
alone showed me his selflessness.
Okay. So how did you meet Rivera?
Well, I met him during the time. So I met him after I was a correctional officer for a little bit,
Okay.
um, which which then kind of brought me kind of questioned myself onto the position that I was taking in and who I was working for.
All right. That's so knowing that you were born in federal prison, that means you
Hmm.
had a mother who was in federal prison, right?
Yes.
And how did you come to find yourself working in a prison as a prison guard? And coming from that situation, was it curiosity? What was it? What made LaPorscha go and fill out that application?
So my original plan was to attend law school. I wanted to be a criminal defense attorney, which I will
Hmm.
be. Um, I needed to know how it feels to be inside, not only in the classroom. You can't say you understand what's going on when you only read a book. Now, don't get me
Gotcha.
wrong, reading a book, you gain a lot of knowledge, but you
Mm.
really don't know what's going on unless you're standing in the belly of the beast.
Got you, got you. So I kind of suspected that, right? Um,
Mhm.
being that you were born in a federal prison, you probably had a lot of questions, right? And then subconsciously, your questions had to be answered. You had to know what it was like for your mother to sit in that prison, right? You had to see what it was like firsthand. So but even before you answered the question, I kind of went through my mind like, how did she become a CO? Because she wanted to know what it was like. She wanted to experience it, and she didn't want to go catch a charge to experience it. So here's another way I can go inside these walls. I can fill out this application. And
Right.
when you filled out that application, right, knowing your perspective, how did you see this prison and what prison were you at? And give me a little idea of what you experienced.
So my first notion is, let's just be honest. When I was in college, sitting in class, I never thought I was gonna work at a prison. I've
Mm.
heard so many things. Matter of fact, my criminologist teacher was a warden from
Okay.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Yes, he was a
Okay.
warden from Chicago. And of course, I heard many stories.
Mm.
What brought me is this. I saw how many people were incarcerated, but they never committed the crime.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, I heard so many stories about prisons and the prison riots and what goes on inside of the prison, but I never heard what the staff do to the actual individuals that are in there. I never
Mm.
hear how they mistreat them. I never hear how they treated them like animals.
Yeah.
They treated them worse than the judge that sentenced them.
Mm.
So me, I wanted to know. I wanted to see the other side. I wanted to see what they put smoke screens in front of.
Okay.
So that's what brought me to work at Trisdale Turner, which
Okay.
is the worst prison in Tennessee, the most
Mm.
dangerous prison.
Heard.
Um,
Mm.
let's just say I went in with a mentality of I can make a change. No,
Yeah. Got you.
you can't. That's a fight.
Yeah. So a lot of the officers, some of them might go in with the mindset like you, right? But they end up becoming a
Mhm.
part of the culture as opposed to changing the culture. How were you
Yes.
able to be different? And how did the officers look at you because you weren't, playing ball with them? You weren't a part of the
Mhm.
game.
It's called ethics. It's called they're human just like me. I had a
Mm-hmm.
little brother. My brother was locked up at the time that I decided to take on this role. I didn't want people treating my little brother the way I saw them treating other
Mm.
officers treating individuals. Because I don't like seeing inmate. I don't like seeing offender because they're still a human.
Yeah.
The judge already gave them their time. It is not my duty to do the same thing.
Got you. Got
When you take on that role, do you not know that that role is to protect them, to make sure
you.
that they're okay? That's not what they actually train you inside of prison. They don't train you to do that. They train you to call them inmate. They say call them hey inmate. Um, they train you to treat them as if they're just not worthy of being called a human. Let me just say that
Mm.
much. The
Got
goal
you.
is to dehumanize them mentally and physically. And
Mm.
it's our role as a correctional officer to keep them in that box to say, hey, you know what you are.
Yeah, got you. So that's what you learned fast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So being that you weren't um willing to do that, how did the other officers treat you?
They whew, they were very suspicious. How about that? They were very,
Okay.
that's the best word. They were very suspicious because I gained so much respect from individuals because
Hmm.
I treated them like they were human. I didn't
Got you.
disrespect them just because I got authority to disrespect them. I didn't make up things and say, "Oh yeah, you did this," and write them up just because I know that my word gonna stand before theirs.
Got you.
And that's
Yeah.
what I saw a lot. I saw a lot of officers do that. I saw a lot of officers just make up things just because they didn't like the person.
Mm. Have you ever seen the officers assault inmates in there?
Absolutely. And then they cry out and say, "Oh, he was aggressive." Well,
Mm.
if you was to come up and punch somebody in their face outside of prison, they're going to be a little aggressive, right? It's called
Yeah.
reflex for no reason.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's another scenario that takes place in these prisons, and I know it's prevalent in prisons like Rikers Island, right? Where
Hmm.
because the officers are in a position of power, a lot of the inmates or the convicts or whatever they call them in there, right? Um,
Hmm.
kind of do things for the officers, right? So if I
Hmm.
make an enemy of an officer can have some guys do something to me, right? And it
Yes.
recently happened, and I think it was Trousdale.
Hmm.
Trousdale Turner, a young man had pissed off an officer. The officers let some guys in his cell who beat him and stabbed him up, right?
Yes.
And the
Hmm.
officer opened the cell and let them in to do this to this young man, and then he walked off, right, and let it happen. So that's one thing that happens that people don't understand is that officers will use their position to to promote certain activity in the prison. So if you get on their wrong side, they can have you dealt with, right? And I've
Absolutely.
heard, yeah, that's something that takes place a lot in places, especially private prisons. I was
Yes.
in a private prison called Wagon Hut in Texas, and I
Hmm.
saw the officers open the gates and let a group of Mexicans in on the basketball court, and they jumped a black guy. The officers did that. So I know, like they will bust that gate on you. I've had them bust the gate on me before. Um, and I fought one of a trustee. They call them
Hmm.
trustees in the jail, and this is somebody that the officers trust. So they do a lot. They walk around with the officers and hand out trades and all of that. And I got an argument with a trustee, and the officers told everybody to back up. They bust the gate and let that trustee in. I don't know what they thought was going to happen, but that ain't what I punished. I destroyed them. They ended up macing me and throwing me in the hole, man, because I beat their boy up. But anyway, so at some point you learn the Rivera story,
Yes.
right? And when you hear Rivera's story, it, like you say, it transforms you, right? It you
Hmm.
you become an advocate for Rivera immediately. You just immediately like, nah, this can't fly.
Right.
This can't fly.
Right.
This it can't happen, and I know about it. So
Hmm.
you being in your position when you learned of this, now you're already an officer who has empathy, right? You empathize
Hmm.
with the inmate population. The other officers are desensitized, right? So
Hmm.
they have been conditioned and brainwashed into losing empathy for the inmates. That's how they train them. They don't want
Yes.
them to have empathy, right? But LaPorscha still had her empathy, right? So when you heard this man's story, how did that impact you? Did you feel conflicted? Like I want to know internally what was going on with you at that time? Like, what happened?
So after experiencing so much there, before I heard Rivera's story, I left because you can't fix it. No matter how much you try, you have to go through another channel to fix it, and that's why I advocate now.
Okay.
You can't be a part of the problem and actually fix the problem. Being
Yeah.
an officer is being a part of the problem.
Exactly.
So I
Exactly.
learned you have to work externally. I quit, and then I heard Rivera's story, and I compared his story to where I worked at, and I'm like, okay, now I see the problem.
Okay.
Um, this is where that passion came. I have all these degrees. I got to do something. I have to do
How
something.
did you?
I
How did
can't.
you had degrees before you went to Trousdale,
Yes,
and you still worked as a CO? Wow. I mean, but
yes, because
criminal justice, yeah, it's in your field though, right?
right. Right, and you
Okay.
think about it like this: when you get degrees, you're like, okay, I have to start here in order for me to move up through the chains. Because when it comes to a criminal justice degree, there's chains, and there's probably chains in different jobs. But with
Okay.
them, it's really about you have to start at the bottom in order for you to get all the way up there, such as like commissioner or something like that.
Okay.
Um, but I realized that every level was the problem. No
Okay.
matter what level you reach, you're still going to be a part of the problem. So you have to work from the outside in order to actually abolish that problem.
Got you. Got you.
Yes,
All right. So actually, like you becoming a CO was almost like a case study for you.
yes,
It was almost
yes,
like a case study for you, right? So you had to get some hands-on training. So now, being that you completed that, that puts you at the bottom rung on the ladder. So you still got more steps to go up on that ladder,
right,
right? But that was a start for you. And
right.
how long did that last?
About 2.5 years.
Okay,
About two and a
and
half years.
you had trials there the whole time.
Yes, yes.
Okay, wow. So I can imagine you saw quite a bit.
Oh yes, I saw a lot, including officers unlocking doors, walking out of units, and allowing other inmates to go in and beat up other
Got
individuals.
you. Got you. Yeah,
I've
because
seen that a lot.
Trousdale was very is very gang it's filled with gangs, right? So
Yes,
are some of the officers gang members too?
absolutely. They even have the
Wow.
tattoos, and the administration is aware of it. The only
Yeah.
thing you have to do is tell them, "Hey, yes, I have a tattoo, and I was a part of a gang at one point in my life." But does that mean they're not anymore?
Yeah. Got you. Got you. So I could see how that would weigh in the favor of certain organizations inside, certain gang
Right.
organizations. All right, got you. We're streaming live to Facebook and YouTube and Fifth Sun TV. So I want to give a shout out to Fifth Sun TV, the platform that we're using. So we're live on Roku TV. People can download it if you have a Roku device. You can download it. You can see more interviews like this on my show. There's also other podcasts available to view. There's a podcast this evening at 6 o'clock, 6 to 8. And they go live as well to Fifth Sun TV. But yeah, back to your story. So now I want you to tell them about Rivera's story. Let's learn about
Right.
they're hearing about how his story impacts people, but I want you to
Mhm.
talk about what is Rivera people's story.
He was 18 and he was wrongfully convicted. He was charged with criminal responsibility.
Hmm.
Um, being that his car was used in a crime that was committed.
Okay, what was the crime?
The crime, someone was killed during a robbery, and he was never there. Just so happened his car was a part of the crime. He wasn't present During the crime, he was nowhere in the vicinity.
Right.
um, but the biggest thing is this: the system knows that an 18-year-old doesn't really know their rights, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they know that, then they look a little deeper. They see, oh, well, their family is not this, hierarchy family that has money growing on trees.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to give you a public defender. So they give him a public defender that never came to see him, not one time. And
Mm-hmm.
then on top of that, the attorney that they actually appointed to him was a traffic stop violation attorney, not a criminal attorney, a DUI attorney. Has
Wow.
no experience in the criminal courts at all.
Mm.
Then they put him in the courtroom, and the attorney walks in. The first time Rivera ever laid eyes on this man. It's like me getting on this show and you've never met me in your entire life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now imagine a person coming in to defend you for your life, and
Yeah.
they don't know you from A to B.
You have to do your homework. If I have a guest on the show, I have to go find out who this person is. Why would I have them on the show? What's unique about this individual, right? I need to know their story, right? So I know that about you. I know your story, right? And anybody I've had on my
Hmm.
show, I have to look them up. When
Right,
Don was
right,
on when Don was on last week, I wasn't familiar with Don's story. I had to go read about
right.
it, find out about it. Like I'm like, oh, this lady the truth. Like so.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's and an attorney, if this person is going to represent you, they need to know who you are. So if he never came to see
Absolutely.
Rivera, that's that in itself. They put you in a position where you're not supposed to win, right? So I
Yes.
love the way you tell stories, but I just think I tell them a little better. So let me give a little more detail, add a little more context to what happened with Rivera. Rivera let his older brother use his vehicle. They came from somewhere. I forgot where he said the mall, something. They came from somewhere. He and his
Hmm.
brother and his child. Was his son? It was a little child, right?
Yeah, I think it
Whoever
was his son.
whichever one is the oldest out of those two
Yes.
kids. But he let his older brother use his car. Who hasn't done that? We let our siblings use our vehicle. So he let his brother
Hmm.
use his car. Rivera goes in the house. He doesn't know what his brother's going to do. His brother went and picked up two of his friends. When his brother went and picked up two of his friends, they went and they committed a robbery. In the commission of the robbery, someone was unalived, right? And this individual who was unalived, Rivera didn't know him, never seen, he wasn't there. He had nothing to do with it. He found
Right.
out later what happened. I guess when his brother returned the car, and when the police came around asking questions, I'm not telling you nothing about my brother. Like, I don't know where he at. So anyway, long story short, Rivera brother was finally apprehended along with his co-defendants. They got their time. Rivera's brother pled guilty, and a part of his guilty plea was that, okay, I plead guilty, but y'all can't prosecute my brother for this murder because he ain't had nothing to do with it. He wasn't there, none of that, right? This is what his older brother did, and the prosecutors agreed. Okay, we won't mess with your brother. You just sign here. And he received, I think it was 25 years, right? For
Hmm.
actually being the trigger man, being the one who
Right.
actually took someone's life. He got 25 years. Prosecutors backdoored and charged Rivera with a little known crime called criminal responsibility. They gave him life plus 100 years for criminal responsibility for a murder where he was not present. He had nothing to do with it. His older brother pled guilty to it, and his older brother said he had nothing to do with it. And they still gave him life plus 100 years. They gave him life plus 100 years because he had the audacity to go to trial. That's point blank, period. And in the state of Tennessee and many other states, if you go to trial, you cost the state or the federal government money. And for costing them money, they want to make an example out of you to scare everyone else and deter them from going to trial. So they gave him this crazy sentence. One, because they could, like they don't respect his family enough to think that they will fight for him, right? So they gave him life plus 100. Then they gave it to him also because they want to scare everybody else who's coming from behind. Anybody else who goes to trial, they're gonna think about, man, they gave Rivera life plus 100. Man, I'm taking the plea. Right. So this is
Mm-hmm.
one way. This is one way that they convince our young males and our young females to take pleas, is because they use people like Rivera to basically crack the whip on. You know, they're the example. That they do what they call buck breaking. They
Yep.
breaking the young bucks, and they doing it in front of everybody. So that's why I became a part of the case. But I'm not in love with him. You are, right? So how did that how did that relationship grow?
Well, the passion, the passion behind him fighting to get home, the passion behind him wanting to change, make a change for not just only himself, but for everybody. And the more
Okay.
and more I actually learned about him, the more I realized how this is continuously happening all across the United States. Um, his his story is not something that you always hear about. Like I can
Yeah.
tell you this, I done said in every class that you could have thought about for criminal justice. I've never ever had a conversation about wrongful convictions. I'm talking college level classes.
Wow.
So yes, it's like it's unheard of in the language of in the language of criminal justice. Um, and he just opened my eyes to a whole nother side of the justice system that I could not go to class and learn. And his
Yeah.
passion behind fighting to get home to his children, fighting so that this does not happen to anyone else. And the fact that it happened to him at 18 years old, it also brought me back to think about my little brother, how I watched him go through the system, how we went through foster care system, and he's like 2 years younger than me. He went through juvenile. He went juvenile systems. He went through group homes. They felt that a little black boy only way of making it is to continuously put him inside of institutions. And
Mm.
I saw the passion in Rivera's eyes that I'm not meant to be in an institution. I'm meant to be out here. The
Got you.
system has told me and everybody else that I'm meant to be here. And the fact that he had the fire behind his eyes to say, I'm not what they say I am,
Mm.
that right there, it's kind of hard to walk away and not actually fall in love with somebody.
So I know the act of falling in love, you have to do a lot of communicating. So I'm
Yes.
guessing you guys talked on the phone for quite a while, right? And
Yeah.
how did that phone call situation grow to a visit? And how was that first visit? How did that happen?
So it started as if it started as doing research, learning
Okay.
more together. The more we learned together, the closer we became. The more we fought to get him home, the closer we became. The more we learned to increase our vocabulary so that we could learn how to talk the way they talk inside of these courtrooms
Yeah.
and understand the dynamic behind his case and how to navigate and strategize in order to get him home and who we need to connect to, what rooms should we show up in, who should we network with. That right there brings you closer. And then it leads up to, I going to visit him and we talk even
Now,
more.
slow down. How did you first go see? Where was the first visit? What year? Like, we want a little bit of detail. How did that happen?
So
Yeah.
the first visit, I went to see him at West Tennessee.
Okay.
I did not go to Charleston.
Okay.
Yeah. That was our first visit because we did not start actually talking until after I was gone from there. So that's when I left from there is when I learned about his story. And I didn't
Okay.
need another example because I was right there. I understood you definitely should not be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then to putting his story on top of that place is like, how many more people are there that shouldn't be there, and they have to experience that. Um, so after us doing more research and we're talking to individuals that could possibly help get him home and actually reopen his case, that led to me going to visit him and us doing more brainstorming at visit, and we just became super close.
Mm, So you started as an advocate. You started as an advocate, someone trying to help to bring Rivera home, and it led to where you're at today. And where
Yes.
are you at today? Like what is this? And how long has this been? Like that first visit in West, you said West Tennessee. How many years
Mm-hmm.
ago was that? When was that?
That was maybe, it's been 2 years now.
Okay, so how did friends, loved ones. How did because you look, I was in a prison relationship for quite a while, right? I
Mm-hmm.
was incarcerated for 17 years, and my
Right.
significant other, who was with me at the time, she was there for 14 years, and I know
Mm-hmm.
people were constantly trying to talk her like, why are you going to see him? I had 30 years, right? So
Right.
they were naysayers. There were people who tried to get her to abandon ship. I'm pretty sure it's the
Right.
same with you, right?
Yes. So we've been together for 7 years.
Okay.
There was always people saying, "How old are you? Um, why do you go see him? What if he never?" The hypotheticals. Oh, let me get into those. What if
Yeah.
he never comes home? Um, what about when you want kids one day?
Mm.
Um, and let me just be blunt. It's always about, what about your sex life? I'm just I have to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always, in the back of my head, I'm always wondering, why is everybody worried about that
Yeah.
instead of why he's incarcerated?
Good question. Good question. Yeah. Yeah. Good question. So is it mostly women, family members, maybe?
It's no, it's not just boxed in. It's not just women. It's males. Come in contact is like, well, how old are you? Are you
Yeah.
sure this is what you want? That's a great sacrifice. It's not too many women out here that do stuff like that. And then it's
Yeah.
close people, family members, people that you wouldn't think that would have that opinion. You would think that they would look at the passion behind what you all are doing and actually support and push for you, not have questions onto what if this doesn't happen, the negative comments.
Got you. Got you. So I have no doubt that I know why guys are saying it. Um, haters, right? they're
Hmm.
trying. They're trying to get him out of the way. You know what I'm saying? So if they can get
Hmm.
you to remove your focus from them, then maybe they have a chance. So I don't like if a guy say that he's it's an issue with them, man, because
Yeah.
that's really low, But it happens. It
Hmm.
happens. It happened to me. Like I know they went at
Yeah.
my ex. Oh man, he ain't come on. He got 30 years. Like that. Man, I know you need something. It's that's
Hmm.
just the nature of the beast, and he knows that, and you know that, so you know what to beware of. And then a lot of
Yeah.
times, lot of times the ladies, um, they don't want to see. I don't know what it is about women. They see a happy woman and they not happy. Oh man, you need to be with me. I ain't happy. Why you happy? You happy with this dude? Like so, if it makes you happy, that should be enough for them, right? And your
Yes.
loved ones who accept the fact that you're happy and he makes you happy, those are the ones you need to cleave to, right? Those are the ones you need to
Right.
listen to. Those naysayers, nah, lead them over there where they at. Negatives.
Yes.
Yeah. So
And
how
I
have you?
experienced a lot
Yeah. What experienced a lot in the terms of what?
of individuals saying, "Do you know why he's there? Do you know what he did? Do you know this?" So much judgment, so much. Why would you be with someone? Oh, these are the lost ones. Why would you be with somebody that's incarcerated and they must have did it? They're there.
Oh, That's the most ignorant statement, but for unfortunately, that's how a lot of people in our community think. They really think that just because a person is incarcerated, that they did it. They committed the
Mhm.
crime. Like they ignore the fact that countless people are released each year for who are exonerated from crimes. They was served. I was just talking about it before you came on. I was talking about a guy, Dwayne Brooks, man, out of New York, but his charges out of Cleveland. Man, he did
Mhm.
32, 36 years or something like that. Didn't commit the
Mhm.
crime. He wasn't even in Ohio when it happened. Like he
Right.
wasn't even in the state. But it took them 30 something years to clear his name. So now he's walking around, like another one, Khalif Browder. I don't know if you heard of the
Mhm.
Khalif Browder story, the guy from Rikers Island. Man, he did all that. It drove him crazy. Just the time in the
Yes.
jail. Rikers Island is a jail. And that's how hard time is. So just imagine doing time for something you didn't do. I did time for a crime I committed. I couldn't imagine doing time and being innocent, right? So
Yes.
this is what Rivera's going through right now. He's locked up for
Mhm.
something he didn't do, right? And
Right.
Tennessee won't acknowledge it. So
Mhm.
is there
Absolutely.
any what happened? Fighting, tooth and nail, right? What's going on? Have we had any wins?
Have we had any wins?
Your bar, yeah. Have we had any wins? Like what's going on now?
So we are actually preparing to go in front. We are actually preparing for the review board. That is the
Okay,
next step.
okay. The Conviction
Hmm.
Review Board, and that's headed
Yes.
by Sonny Eaton. Sonny Eaton, right? So
Yes.
in Tennessee, you have a Conviction Review Board, which is outstanding, right? Because they don't have it in a lot of states. Tennessee is
Hmm.
they do have a Conviction Review Board because they have so many people who are incarcerated for crimes they didn't commit. So now they have to basically
Right.
self audit their criminal justice system, right, to make sure that they haven't
Hmm.
missed anything. And the Conviction Review Board reviews cases that are in question. So the fact that he's
Right.
about to go, he's about to be in front of the Conviction Review Board is good. I've heard a lot
Yes.
about this lady Sunny Eaton. She's over the conviction review. She might not be over it, but she heads it, right? So Sunny Eaton is, she's basically, she has a good reputation. So the fact that
Hmm.
his case is going before her, I have no doubt that she'll see that. Oh, why is this man incarcerated for life plus 100 years? Like
Hmm.
you could take 3, 4 murderers, and their sentences together won't equal what Rivera has.
Right.
It's like I know one
Yes.
guy who did a total of 30 years for 2 murders. He killed somebody,
Hmm.
did 15 years, killed somebody else, did 15 more years. 30 years, 2 murders, took 2 lives. Rivera has taken no lives. He has sold no drugs. Like he doesn't have not a conspiracy, anything. He has a charge
Right.
called criminal responsibility. It's something
Hmm.
that shouldn't even be on the books in Tennessee, but they're using it to incarcerate people. Sean Hatcher, right? Sean Hatcher's
Hmm.
husband, criminal responsibility, right? Like
Hmm.
he got life plus something too. Criminal responsibility wasn't there. Like he was young. I think he was 17, maybe 18. He was young, but and that's the
Right.
case I know of. Criminal responsibility is a big charge in Tennessee, right? Like a lot of people get it.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
So I know this is part of the fight that Rivera has taken on, and the fact that he wrote that book. What's the name of his book?
Power versus poverty.
So tell me a little bit about the book Rivera wrote.
So power versus poverty, the best slogan ever is in the front. It says follow the money to get to the scheme.
Mm,
Um, it goes in detail about the private prison system in Tennessee. It goes even deeper into the details about the legislators that we put in place that actually profit off of the incarceration of African American males because they're pretty much 85 to 90% African
Oh, the pop.
American males in those prisons.
Okay.
Um, it talks about the maltreatment that the individuals that are incarcerated in those prisons go through. It even goes in details about individuals that have lost their lives inside of those prisons, and their family members probably didn't find out until months later.
Yeah. And that's still taking place in Trousdale right
Yes,
now. That people are
absolutely.
dying. Yeah, they have people dying, um, fentanyl overdoses. I forgot one of those prisons in Tennessee, they busted a key of fentanyl. How do you
Mhm.
get a key of fentanyl in prison, right? So and they're
Mhm.
ODing left and right. And like you say, the families don't find out till much later. You know, they
Yes.
just tell them, oh, he died, fell and bumped his head in the shower. They don't want it to get
Yep.
out. It was a fentanyl overdose because now what else are they telling? That they have fentanyl in the prison and they can't
Mhm.
stop it. So those private prisons are overdose havens. I think they
Yes.
even teach them now how to administer that shot, that Narcan or whatever.
Yes,
Yeah,
they do. They
okay.
actually teach the individuals how to do it. Say if one of
Wow.
your cellmate has overdose,
Yeah.
they teach them how to do it now.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the environment that your love came from, right? And I know
Yes.
that I'm glad he's finally out of Tribesdale and that he's another location. Is he still in a private prison or is he in a TD? Is he in a Tennessee the prison?
He's not in a private prison anymore.
All right, got you. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, I don't know how
Yeah.
much better it is. He's still in prison for a charge that shouldn't be on the books for a crime he didn't commit. And
Mhm.
if people want to find out more, they can look up Rivera Peoples and they can order his book. His book is called Power versus Poverty, and I think you can find it on Amazon and anywhere books are sold. You just look up
Yes.
Power Poverty. He's working on a documentary currently. The documentary will be out soon. Well, I don't know about soon. Once he gets everything in there that he wants, right? And you can
Right.
contact, um, you know, where can they find you at, LaPortia?
They can follow me on Instagram under Really the Realist, or they can type in LaPortia in the code.
Okay. All right. And one other thing, right? I know this isn't a part of being in love. And I keep wanting to say Love at the Lockup. There's a TV show that my wife watches. It's called Love at the Lockup, right? And
Mhm.
hopefully that'll be you guys one day, right? That will be your story, Love at the Lockup. Even though your love
Yeah.
took place before the after part, the after lockup part,
Yeah.
I can see you guys, and what would life be like when revert? Because they're gonna bust the doors, right?
Right.
Does he have a home plan? I know he's coming to your house when he comes home, right?
Yes.
You two are married now, right?
Yes.
Okay,
We
so
are.
he's coming home.
Oh yeah.
He's coming. So he has somewhere to go then.
Yes, he does.
Okay, all right, got you. And I know Rivera will be a positive, um, you know, a member of society, right? Contributing member like myself.
Absolutely.
I've been home now going on 10 years. And I see it in Rivera and I see it in individuals like Bo Peep. What's Bo Peep name? Quentin Sanders and
Yeah.
D'Lo, Kenneth D'Angelo Thomas and Brother Ali. And I see these brothers, right, and they're working on um changing the world right now, right? They have an
Yes.
organization called Inside Out Outreach Consultants Incorporated, right? Which I think
Right.
you are the president, right? Or what is your role?
Vice President.
You are the vice president, and I am the distinguished director of communication, right? Because I love to talk.
Yes.
And this is a nonprofit that has been established by individuals incarcerated, right? A
Hmm.
nonprofit. This you want to tell us a little bit about Inside Out.
So Inside Out actually started from individuals that are inside.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they basically give us the grassroots of what's going on in there, That way we can better facilitate out here for them. And then
Okay.
we take our resources and put that together to give people insight on what's really going on instead of what they see put on the news, which is smoke screen or it's watered down what's really going on.
Fake news,
Yes,
like Trump say.
absolutely.
Fake news. And Inside Out is also, a part of the fight from inside. Like this is the unique thing about this
Mhm.
organization is that they are helping to ignite, right, in these different cities and local in Nashville and Memphis primarily. It's about to move to Knoxville and you know all the cities. I don't know all the cities, right? Jacksonville,
Yeah,
Jackson, Tennessee, and
Jackson. Hmm.
I forgot it's another one, right? But Inside Out is growing, so they will be doing, participating in a lot of the movements that are coming in this year to come in Tennessee, right? Starting in Tennessee.
Yes.
But just remember that name. It's called Inside Out Outreach Consultants Incorporated, and it's a
Yes.
nonprofit about to be a 501c3. We're looking for people who want to join in on the fight, help to support the guys who are members. Yeah, so that's
Hmm.
one of the positive things that Rivera is a part of, that you are a part of, myself, and
Yes.
quite a few other um, people who are instrumental in the fight for criminal justice in Tennessee. We have a few
Hmm.
more minutes left, right? I know Inside Out was a part of recently something that took place in Nashville. Briefly
Hmm.
tell me a little bit about what took place. I saw the press conference, but I wasn't able to be there. What took
So
place?
it was actually like an introduction onto
Okay,
who we are and what our mission is and what our focus is.
okay,
Is to bring a space for individuals that are inside that they can be a part of something that is fighting on the outside for them.
got you.
Um, so it's growing. It's gonna grow. It's gonna be big.
So these guys don't want to just sit on the bench. They want to be a part of the fight. Just because they've been
Yes.
removed, and they want to be a part of the fight. And we are helping to facilitate that, right? By creating
Yes.
programs, by pushing legislation. And that's what we were doing in Nashville, helping to push legislation through that would help not just the individuals incarcerated, but their loved ones. There was a bill that they
Yes.
pushed to help get individuals housed closer to their loved ones, right? Because we
Hmm.
want to continue to strengthen those relationships and not put a strain on them. It's already bad enough that they're incarcerated. So if you can get them closer, and I think this is legislation that was close to Sister Jada X, right? We want to get them
Hmm.
closer, right? And then we want to do things like remove that criminal responsibility. So we are pushing legislation right now. Inside Out is definitely impacting the community already. We participated
Absolutely.
March on Memphis. We had a gang summit at Dr. Carnita Atwater's Museum in North
Hmm.
Memphis. So this is just a little bit. This is just a peek, right, at what Inside Out
Yes.
has already done and will be doing. So you will be surprised in the days to come. But I'd like to
Right.
thank you, LaPorscha Hagen's Peoples, for your time, for sharing, for being transparent, and telling us, about your relationship and how you are able to sustain a relationship while the individual is incarcerated with a life sentence, life plus 100 to be specific. Again, I thank you. For everybody who's viewing, go follow LaPorscha Hagens on social media, on Instagram, at say it one more time,
Really, the realest.
Realer the Realist, and on Instagram, and is that the only social media?
Facebook, LaPortia Nicole.
All right. Well, we will see you again next week, same time, same place. Thank you for joining the Versatile Experience. I'm your host, Carlos Parks, and I have nothing left to say. I stole that from Sway. Peace. All right.